What's up, everybody? It's your boy Rod T. I want to thank y'all for coming back to another episode of Recovery with Rod. This episode, as promised, I want to dedicate to my man, my last fallen soldier, my most recent fallen soldier, Jesse, man. It's a sad story, but it's just another friend that recently passed away due to this addiction with drugs and heroin, and you know my condolences to all your family members and everything like that. It's really, I don't know what else to say, man. It's happening a lot more often lately, this year alone. Anyway, let's continue. I apologize, man. Moment of silence to my man real quick. All right, so this episode I decided to dedicate to him, and I figured I would touch on the topic because I have a feeling that this is exactly what happened. I would like to speak about relapse. For those of you that are unaware what relapse is when an addict uses, and then an addict decides that they want to quit, and they stop with the mindset that they're quitting or done, and they feel like they're actually done, they're finished, and then somehow towards the timeline on their life something happens and they decide to go back, and that's usually when disaster strikes. That, my friends, is called a relapse. I've personally relapsed. I can't even tell you how many times I've relapsed. I've quit, gone back, quit, gone back, quit, gone back. It's just a part of that life. And, it's a sad thing. And a lot of the times, that's when death becomes the most, I guess, that's when you're most vulnerable to death because of, tolerance and things like that. For example, when you were using in the beginning, your body was tolerant. You were doing, just for example, you were doing 5 bags a day, you were doing 10 bags a day, you were doing 15 bags a day. And then, you take all that time off. However, for me, it was as little as 2 months. And you take that, let's say 2 months, you're free, you think you're done, and then you end up going back, and you think you could do those 5 or 10 or 15 or even a little bit less. You try to do a little bit less, knowing that you haven't been doing it for a while. It turns out to be a stronger batch. It turns out to be a laced batch with fentanyl, with arsenic, rat poison, with anything. And you overdose, and there's really no one there to help you in time, or maybe there's just no help, as it is. If you've seen in my last video, I did a video about Narcan, which if you're there in time, hopefully it can help you, but a lot of the times that's not around, and it's still fairly new. But relapse is a very normal part as far as drug addiction, especially with heroin. It's pretty much expected. You got people that go into these rehab centers, that go into detox facilities, and a lot of the times, I'd say 99% of the times, they're forced into it. They're forced into it because they want to, prove something to their family. They're in there because of the law. Their probation officer, their parole officer, their judge, their drug court, their charges. They want to make a good impression. They pretty much want to do it for every other reason under the sun other than the real reason that they should be in there for, which is themselves. And they think they got it. And then once they come out, they end up reusing and, biting the dust, so to speak. And it's just sad because there's so many good people. There's so many people that are so young that haven't even lived their lives yet, you know, that are just starting their lives, and they're taken from us way too soon. It's just a sad thing, you know. It's not anybody's fault, really. You can't force anyone to stop. You can't force anyone to do anything that they don't want to do. And a lot of the times, it's not like somebody just, you know, decides, all right, tomorrow I'm going to relapse, you know. Some people do. I mean, they call that, you know, reservations, you know. All right, next Friday, we're all going to hang out and we're all going to use and this and that. But for the most part, you know, people just, that thought gets into their brain, and their brain's not fully, you know, they haven't had enough clean time to get away from the drugs just yet. So they're not thinking with, you know, a clear mindset. So, you know, as soon as that thought gets into their brain, it kind of takes over, and it's pretty much off to the races after that. You know, a lot of us addicts, you know, we're very stubborn people, which is good and bad. You know, if you use it to a positive way, it's a very good thing. But you got to get there. And you know, if you're stubborn in a bad way, you could call somebody, you could do everything that, you know, they teach you in rehabs and meetings, and, you know, you could do everything you could, you know, you could try to run from these things. One way or another, it's going to catch up with you, and it's just sad. It really is a sad thing. You know, I don't know how much I want to get into this topic, because there's really not so much I can say other than what relapse is. I just wanted to let you guys know, man, you know, it really, really affects people. It affects the people around you. It affects your life, which is most important. And if you feel that you are going to relapse, if you feel vulnerable, you know, they have hotlines, they have all sorts of different places where you can actually get help. And you have to think, like, is this 10, 20 minutes, you know, of a high really worth the risk of me possibly dying? And there's a lot of factors that come into play. You know, for example, friends, drug dealers. Like, what I mean by drug dealers is, you know, you'll be sitting there and it won't be on your mind or anything like that, and then out of nowhere, you'll get a phone call. These drug dealers, they have burners, you know, burner phones, disposable phones, because you've blocked them and you're trying to stay clean and stuff like that. And next thing you know, you'll get a call, hey, it's me, I got that fire, blah, blah, blah. And now next thing you know, you let it get into your head, and you're going, you're meeting up, and for all you know, that could be the last time you do it. You know, the best way to get rid of these drug dealers is to pretty much, if you're really trying to get rid of them forever, other than changing your number, if that doesn't work, you know, changing your number, changing your Facebook, you could just tell them, listen, man, I got into some trouble. I'm being watched by the cops. I can pretty much guarantee you they're not going to talk to you ever again. Once they hear the cops and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure, you know, that bridge is pretty much burnt after that. So that's one good way to go about it. Also, friends, you know, a lot of friends, they will, depending on what kind of friend they are, you know, if they're a close friend or if they're an addicted friend, or, you know, they can help or hurt. You know, a true friend will try to help you, but in, you know, without, you know, even knowing it, they might be able to bring you down as well. They'll call you and they'll talk to you about their problems, and you're not really in a position to be giving advice because you have your own, you know, dilemma going on. And as soon as you hear the word, or you hear about the certain rituals, or you hear about certain little triggers and things like that, then you start thinking about it, and then boom, right back in your head. You know, it really is mind over matter as far as getting getting, you know, out of your chair and going and calling and meeting up with somebody, if you could beat that urge. But you know, there is a physical aspect to it, so it's not 100% mind over matter. It's just it's very hard to explain. It's just it depends on what part of, you know, what part of addiction you're in your life, how far down the totem pole you are. You know, if you're new, you know, if you've been doing it forever, if you're a, you know, a functioning drug addict, if you're a full-blown drunk, you know, junkie. It depends on, you know, and I hate that word, but let's just call it what it is. It depends on where you're at, you know. If you've been doing this forever, you know, you've been playing this game. Oh, I'll stop tomorrow. I'll stop tomorrow. I'll stop later. You know, oh, I stopped, and then, you know, this happened and that happened. You know, there's always an excuse. It's a bad day. Let's use. You know, there's always an excuse to use. There's always a reason to use, and you just gotta find a way. You gotta find a reason within yourself for you to not use. Instead of using those, oh, it's a good day to use, you got to turn it to, it's a good day not to use. You know, relapses are very hard. You know, if those friends are the ones that are putting these thoughts into your head, if they're your true friends, you have to explain to them, listen, if we're going to continue going down this path of our friendship, you know, we can't be talking about this, whatever, you know, bothers you and triggers you. You got to let them know, man to man, woman to woman, whatever. You got to let them know, like, listen, we can't talk about that anymore, or I'm going to have to separate myself from you because it's bringing me down every time. If they're a true friend, they'll understand that. The drug dealers, they don't care about you. You don't have to explain yourself to them. They don't care. All they want is your money. So that's, you know, besides the point. But what I'm trying to prevent is, you know, another relapse. I just hope that you guys get something from any of these videos, whether it's this video, the last video, the video before that, the next video. I just hope that you guys understand that it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. And I've noticed it's so crazy that, you know, it's not the people that are the ones selling the drugs. It's not the ones that are corrupting all the people to do it for the first time and just spreading the filth. It's always the good, you know, the really good-hearted people that are, you know, that'll give you the shirt off their back, you know, that'll give you their last dollar. It's always those type of people that end up dying, you know. And it's just crazy to me how it works. It's like, why was this person, you know, like, you wanted to send a message, like, this is how you send the message. Like, it's just crazy. It's sad. It's really heartbreaking, man. You know, I was thinking about making an episode about, you know, grief and death and stuff like that. Just, it's gonna end up being a really short episode because there's not much I can say. I've been through a lot, but there's really not much I can say, you know. So that's, you know, for another video. I just wanted to keep this one short and sweet, pretty much right to the point. Be careful because, you know, yeah, you know, there's a saying, you might have one more high left in you, but you might not have another recovery left in you. So with that said, I appreciate y'all for coming, kicking it with me, and please make sure to share, to like, subscribe, you know, get this information out there. It's not about me getting views for the sake of getting views. This is to get real information from a person who's been there himself, from a person who's seen death in the face. If you guys want to hear about that, you could hear it. I was on a podcast and I explain it in pretty depth, pretty good detail. It was the Joe Kozo show. That's on the channel as well. You can hear about how I pretty much graduated from where I was to where I was at and kind of where I'm at now. And you know, we'll just keep on riding it out, man. See what happens. But I want to thank all of y'all for the support, and I really wish the best for all of y'all, man. I really do. I really wish the best. If you guys have any questions, if you guys have anything you want to talk about, anything you want to hear about, anything you want to ask, comment, contribute, let me know. I'm here for y'all, and you know, let's see what happens on the next episode. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Peace out, y'all.